questions. Thank you very much.
Well, what's your assessment of the league thus far with the 3 new teams?
Well, we've had a good start. I mean, the building in Laval is spectacular. I went up there for opening weekend, and good crowds, great hockey. It's really been well received there. And we open up in Belleville on Wednesday night, so it's been good. And I think in Binghamton, clearly the support there for the Devils has been strong. And overall, we're in a really good place. It's October, but we're ahead of last year. And every year in October, I look around in some of our markets and say, well, gosh, we're having some issues, but we're always ahead of the previous year. So we get through to American Thanksgiving, and then we'll take off.
Do you have concerns here when you look at 2,800 in the building tonight?
No, you don't, Kev. Really, honestly, every year I travel around, and unless it's a brand new franchise or one of those franchises that's constantly full, in October you come around and you look and say, gosh, like we're off a bit, and then you look back at the year before, and the crowd from the same time the year before was worse. So, but we're ahead of last year across the league, and we're in really good shape. So, no, I'm not concerned. I think it's we've had great weather here in the Northeast all fall, and we're not going to have much more of it, as we all know. So I think folks are things are going on. You got high school football in October. You got the World Series on tonight. There's all sorts of reasons why people might not be here, but the crowd's here. They're enthusiastic, and it's fine.
Do you expect to see an attendance increase from the 3 new teams?
Well, yes. I mean, we have to be careful when we look at attendance increases across the league. When I say we're up against the same 27 or 28 cities we were in last year. We're not using Laval's numbers to pump us up, or what we expect to be good numbers in Belleville. So we're up, what they call same-store sales against last year, and we're up even more if you count Laval's attendance.
What is the timeline for going back to one per NHL franchise?
It will happen next year. We have just recently announced we're expanding to Colorado, adding a team in the Fort Collins, Loveland area, which will be the affiliate of the Colorado Avalanche. That franchise is currently operating in the ECHL as the Colorado Eagles. They're the champions of the ECHL. And it's a franchise that has a rich history. Ralph Backstrom was part of the group that founded it back in the old Central League days. Been very successful in the ECHL, and we were fortunate to work a deal with their ownership group to partner up with the Colorado Avalanche, and that'll be our 31st team. That'll move the Avalanche away from San Antonio as the affiliate in San Antonio, and it opens San Antonio up for the St. Louis Blues to be their full affiliation next year. So we'll be right back where we need to be: 31 teams, 31 NHL clubs, and everyone in a spot that makes them happy.
Have you noticed any growing pains with the new teams coming into the league this far?
Well, not the new teams this year. No, I think you don't expect to see that. I think there's usually a lot of excitement in the market when you come in with a new American Hockey League team. It's been really positive. I mean, you get the odd growing pain glitch where, in terms of operations, that we hope fans don't see, and certainly we hope doesn't impact the competitive integrity of the game. But from time to time, you'll have things operationally when people haven't operated a professional hockey team before in their building that will be challenging for us. But in the case of Belleville and Laval, it's been really solid.
This is over the course of everything evolves, but right now the game is speed, and very evident tonight. And the element of rough, tough hockey is kind of faded away. Do fans miss that in this league or not? I mean, are they accepting of what the game has become?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think the game has changed almost more this year, and I'm speaking more of watching NHL games on television and watching the number of games I've seen in our league, which is probably 5 or 6 at this point. And I think the hockey is really entertaining. Like watching games in the NHL this year, it's really exciting to watch the speed of the game and the skill of the game. At our level, I think when you get, the games are good. The fans miss the rough, tough stuff, and if you're talking about the fighting, I mean, we haven't seen a drop-off in attendance since we brought some fighting legislation in. We have to grow with the time as well. I mean, you just couldn't continue to have great big guys whose sole function in the game was fighting, and we've legislated to try to put an end to that. And we haven't eliminated fighting in our sport or in our league, but we have certainly put in place some not restrictions, but some restraints, I think, on players who are primarily fighters because they're going to run out of opportunity to fight. So we were concerned, and I think we've said this publicly. We were concerned about the fact we had more than twice as many fights in our league as were happening in the National Hockey League. And when we looked at where those fights were coming from, there were a lot of them were coming from the same players all the time, and we don't think that's healthy for those particular players. And as times have changed in the NHL, we're a development league. Like, our environment for players needs to be similar to what they're going to see when they go to the NHL to play. And so as you see the game changing in the NHL, particularly this year with the slashing infractions, the game's really changed. I mean, the offense has changed. The opportunities have gotten better. I think it's really positive, and we have to change with it. We can't have a league where players playing here when they move up, and every year probably 350 players in this league play in the NHL during the same year. So they need to be able to play with the same structure, the same game. It's just as the coaching needs to be the same for these players as it is in the NHL in terms of systems. The officiating needs to be the same too, and the rules and the standards need to be the same. So, we are evolving as the game evolves, and I think the game keeps getting better. None of us are in it to make the game worse. I think there's player safety concerns that I think we in the NHL and in different ways, I think, but have really keep trying to do the best we can to make the game safe for players. And some of the things that fans used to like to see, I think we've come to the conclusion that with the size of the guys now and the speed of the game, those kind of hits are too dangerous. And I think we're going to see over time more and more severe discipline and more concern about checking to the head. I think we're doing a good job now, but I think we're going to continue to do a good job and perhaps even better job going forward.
What do you see for the future of the AHL, or where would you like it to go, or things to do that currently are not taking place?
Yeah, I think we're in a really good place. We're matching up next year with the NHL 31-31. We'll have 7 teams in our Pacific Division, which is going to, it's kind of meeting the objective that we had when we moved there to create a division that can be all of their own. It'll move the Texas teams back into the Central Division in the Western Conference, and we're going to have to do a little shuffle of one team moving to the East next year, and we're chatting with various teams about that opportunity. But I think we're in a really good place. Like, can we be better? Yeah. Like, every building could be full, and we're working hard to try to help our teams in terms of best practices and sharing information, sharing data. Giving every team an opportunity to benefit from things that other teams do well. And we've made good progress. So we've got to keep pushing. We've got to keep figuring out how to connect with our fans in this new digital age. And there's lots of work to be done. We just spent 2 days with our staff in off-site meetings about working on all of the things that we need to do and work with our teams to make our league better for our fans and for our players. So I can tell you, after 2 days of that, there's a long list of things we believe we need to do better. But we continue to grow. We continue to get better every year, and that's really what it's about.
The recent slate of Hall of Fame, actually AHL Hall of Fame nominees, is that all 1980s and before? Is that a reflection of a backlog, or is it that younger players are hitting, or is
Yeah, I think there's probably still a backlog. We're a league with 82 years of history, and we've only had the Hall of Fame for whatever it is now, maybe 10 years. And so, yeah, there's a lot of very deserving older players, and we're starting to see some of the, which you wouldn't consider the younger generation players, but I do, like guys like Glenn Murkowski, and that those guys are getting their due. I mean, he could have gone in a long time ago, but I think you're working off some of that backlog, as you say. But it is really exciting to make a call to a guy like Jimmy Bartlett or especially Brian Kilrea. Like, Brian Kilrea's in the Hall of Fame in Toronto, but he's in there because of his amazing coaching career. And when you look back at what he did as a player in the American League, like, he's going to the American League Hall of Fame because of his playing career. And I can tell you, from being the guy lucky enough to make the call to him, he was thrilled. He said, "There is no question I'll be there. I can't wait." And he says, "What an honor to actually have my playing career recognized," because he did have a great career. So, and if you look at Glenn Murkowski's history in our league, it's spectacular. So we've got a good group. Donnie Biggs, another one that, when I first came into the league, Donnie was playing and Glenn was playing. And so it's nice to see those players get the opportunity to be recognized.
in the NHL, you're seeing a lot of younger stars kind of taking the reins. Do you see a reflection in that in the AHL as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, our league gets younger. I think whether we're getting younger every year, I don't know. But I know that, I guess the one thing I would say is the young players coming into our league are pretty skilled. I mean, the game is so fast now. Just watching this game tonight is it's hand to hand. There's not a lot of space for anybody because defensively these guys can all skate. They all work hard. You know, I'm sure for coaches, when you look at the opposing lineups now, years ago you used to be able to look and say, okay, there's these 3 or 4 guys, these couple of defensemen, if you work that side, you're going to beat them because they're slow or they're not mobile. I think it's pretty tough to look out there tonight and look at 2 teams and see players that don't belong out there in terms of their skating ability. So it's tough. Like, there's not a lot of time for players to make decisions and for players to make plays. It's so fast. Thank you.